So that was pretty close between the outfits for second and third, but the Mannonens are now up into second place. Can they do anything about this gap that is growing to the race leaders as we go into Kona Pico once again? Artiola and Licari really seem to have this nailed. Super smooth throughout, the odd little slide here or there. But the Mannonens 2.4 seconds. Has that gap come down? It certainly doesn't look to be 2.4 seconds anymore. Yeah, I didn't think it did. 1.6 now. So the race leaders might have themselves a little bit of trouble in the form of Joni Antero Mannonen. These are the two outfits that shared the spoils yesterday in the opening sidecar race here in Imatra. Artiola and Licari looking for the double victory, having won yesterday's race from the Mannonens. The Mannonens looking to make up for that this time. So here they come down through Imatra and Kona onto BMW Bavaria Laakkonen. So 1.6 seconds. That might have just squeezed back out a little bit. Indeed it has. 2.1 seconds this time. Lingen and Freeman just really losing touch now. So whatever's happened, they're just not quite on the same pace. Fastest lap 2:08.4 for Joni Antero Mannonen. So they're the fastest outfit out there. Over race distance though, they're still in second place and kicking up dust and dirt wherever they go. Really trying hard. Lokala still holding back in fourth place. A big gap back to Kush Perlade in fifth position. The Hummels from Germany are in sixth place as things stand. So through Kuman, Druki Palavello, then into Ovako. That gap is certainly, this part of the circuit is Mannonen territory, you would say, because that gap comes back down again. They go over the rail bridge at Josenen Dieselsenes. Dieselsenes, I should say. This is Diesel. This is Josenen Dieselsenes. Yeah, get my teeth back in soon. Josenen Dieselsenes. And the Mannonens all over Artiola Licari as they come back onto the straight this time around. Just a couple more laps to go. And this race still very much up for grabs, still very open as to who will take the spoils. Race leaders Markku Artiola and Matti Licari. Joni Antero Mannonen still in second place, and a big gap back now. I'm not sure what's happened to Helmut Lingen and Kim Freeman. Maybe they've just shaken themselves after that coming together with the Mannonens as they came along the BMW Bavaria Laakkonen straight. So going into this really tight right-hand turn, it's still between these two for the victory. As they go through Technosafe Ukenhauta and then around this tight right-hand turn. Beautiful Finnish countryside. It really is a beautiful part of the world. It's a beautiful country, Finland. Really is spectacular. Even more spectacular when you throw in some bike racing as well. So half a second at the last timing point. Now watch the Mannonens close this gap back down. So the Mannonens again really quick through the chicanes. Again, just taking the wide approach, keeping the power up as much as they can, trying to carry as much corner speed as they can. However, because of the size of these outfits, and they're really, wow, Tiro Mannonen, and they go through, they really worked hard for that. They take over at the front. And that was the only way to do it. I was saying they were working really, really hard, taking lots of risks. Whatever little gap was being presented to them, they were going to exploit, and that's exactly what they did. Artiola and Licari back into second place. However, as they come down through Mitra into Imatranajo, what can Artiola and Licari do about that? They'll see the last lap board being displayed in a moment. Artiola Licari certainly may have the speed as they come down towards the first turn at Huta Huvat, and that's exactly what they have. So the Mannonens are going to have to come up with another plan, because as things stand, if they do manage to get past again, they're really going to have to build up quite a lead, because they just don't seem to have that top-end speed that Artiola and Licari have at their disposal right now. Again, the Mannonens, loads of movement, really, really close on the back end of the race leaders. What a cracking race this has been. Again, the Mannonens all over the road and all over the pavement as well. That's if that's what it takes to get past. Oh, in fact, it doesn't. He's going to have to tuck in behind. But Joni Mannonen knows that even if he manages to get a move through either Kona Pico or Kumantruki Palavelo or into Ovarco as he did before, he still has to somehow defend as they go through Imatra and Kona onto the BMW Bavaria Laakkonen straight. You'd have to say Artiola and Licari are going to win this race, only because they have a little bit more speed at their disposal. Oh, and they're doing it all again, and the Mannonens are trying to force their way through. It's a repeat. It's a repeat. A good little sign there from Licari to Artiola just to say, look, move out of the way. But Artiola, they're taking the long way round, and they're back in the lead again. And I just can't see how the Mannonens are going to do this from here. They'll tuck in. What a fantastic finish to this race. So here they come again. Artiola and Licari really fast through here. The Mannonens are trying to find some way through, but that's it. They're going to, in fact, Artiola maybe he's just missed a gear because he's slow. His exit speed is slow. However, they're back up to speed now, and that is it. Artiola and Licari are going to make it a double win here at Imatra. What a great effort from the Mannonens. Really superb. They tried everything that they could to try and take the win, but as it is, they're in second place. And Licari and Artiola yet again number one here in Finland. Wow, 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 wow. What a final couple of laps that was. So Artiola and Licari victorious again at Imatra. Joel and Tiro Mannonen, second place again for them. Lingard and Freeman, at least they're on the podium this time. They played their part in this race as well, but certainly Artiola and Licari, just that little bit more top-end speed, it seems, than their rivals on the 88 outfit, and therefore Artiola and Licari with a double victory here. So Imatra, beautiful in the sunshine. The temperatures much cooler today than they have been for the last couple of days. So here we go. Artiola and Licari with the race win, just 1.1 seconds separating the top two outfits. Lingard and Freeman, having been in the picture for so long, eventually having to settle for third. Makula Loikala in fourth. Kusk and Pealaid in fifth. The Hummels in sixth. Rantala, Kajalainen in seventh. Even though they didn't finish the race, neither did Herma Räikkönen or Mäkelä Sopa. So 6 race finishes then. The final outfit's just crossing the finishing line now. And it may look like a lake, but that's actually a river that's just down below us. The Vyoksy, it flows into Russia, which is about 4 miles away from here. So here we go again with the race highlights. And what a start it was. Lingard and Freeman trying to find a gap. They managed to force their way into second place. It was Artiola and Likari who were leading. The Mannonens also very much in the picture through the opening stages. Lingen and Freeman really taking it to the race leaders. The Mannonens trying everything they could. Then the Mannonens went through to take second place eventually. All the while, Artiola, who, again, may I remind you, paralysed from the waist down. Wheelchair bound normally. But despite that, still managed to race. Now, what about this for a moment? Here we are, just about now. Bang! Contact was made. Both fairings touched, side by side. But really, Lingen and Freeman, from that moment on, they were out of the picture. The Mannonens were really trying hard as they raced through to a close. But with just over a lap to go, Artiola and Likari taking first place once again. The Mannonens, and this is fantastic, up onto the pavement, trying to find their way through, but had to yield, and they just didn't have anything. Again, they forced their way through into first place. Some good, that was really good from both outfits, really. Plenty of respect between both, but Artiola and Likari managed to get back in front. And try as they could, Joni and Tero Mannanen just could not find that little bit more oomph that they needed to take the checkered flag. So it's again a victory for Markku Artiola and Matti Likari. Congratulations to them. And we're going to hear the Finnish national anthem once again today, of course. The podium is being prepared. As I said, the temperature in the last couple of days in the 30s, it's up to 27 degrees now. That's the air temperature. The track temperature will be a lot warmer, of course. It's been sitting there baking, but certainly not as hot as it has been the last couple of days. It's still hot, though. So here come the victors. Again, fantastic entertainment. Really good teamwork between Markku and Matti. Yeah, there'll be plenty. Certainly Joel Mannanen with those moves really tried hard to find a way past, but it just couldn't make it work. And yeah, that's the moment he's talking about. That was when contact was made with Helmut Lingen and Kim Freeman as they came onto the BMW Bavaria Laakkonen straight. There certainly was a scary moment, a high-speed scary moment as well, but thankfully oh, the arms, the body language said it all then between Mannanen and Lingen, Helmut Lingen and Kim Freeman. So yeah, these two. I don't think Joni Mannanen is too happy with what happened between himself and Helmut Lingen as they came onto the start-finish straight. Bang! No, certainly no handshake there. That may change once they've calmed down a little bit. Yeah, it looks to be all okay now. But yeah, there he is. That's Helmut Lingen. So, well-deserved drink. So we're going to hear now interviews. They'll all be in Finnish.
Oli todella tiukka taistelu. Siellä tuli vähän sellaista biljardijuttua tuossa välillä.
Joo. Nyt ei oikein saa mitään sanoa. Oli aika tiukka kisa ja vähän tiukkoja paikkoja.
Joo, jos puhutaan tästä niin kuin Suomen ratasarjasta, niin tuolla Kemorassa nähtiin erittäin viimeisen päällä hyvä sivuonukisa ja täällä jatkuu sama homma. Ja rupeat niin kuin sanotaan näin, pääsemään lämpimäksi tässä ajamisessa, eli se rupeaa sujumaan juuri niin kuin pitääkin.
Koko ajan oppii paremmin tuota kuussatkuu ja vauhti kasvaa.
Ja sen huomaa, että mies on mestari aineesta, eikä anneta periksi.
Olis tuo kehu? Kiitos.
No ole hyvä, se on maksettu mainos. Mutta ihan totta, se rupeaa näyttää tosi hyvältä, varmalta otteelta ja sitä yritystä, sitä piisaa. Otetaan tästä voittajapari. Eli samalla kun mennään tonne noin, niin Markku Artiola, hirveän paljon onnea. Oli jännitystä ihan loppuun saakka.
No eikö tätä pitää yleisölle jotain antaa vähän?
No kyllä yleisö sai koko rahaa edestä.
No se on hyvä, toivottavasti olivat tyytyväisiä.
Mä oon ihan varma, että ovat. Ei muuta kuin sinne korokkeelle ja mahdottoman, joo, ja Markku haluaa sanoa jotain.
Ei mä voi muuta sanoa kuin, että on toi Mannisen Joni, se on tosi kova jätkä.
Mä sanoin juuri, että mestarismies. Että mestarismies tuleva.
Toivotaan.
Näin me toivotaan. Ykköskorokkeelle sinne kiputtelee Markku Artiola, Matti Liekari. Onneksi olkoon. Ja kolmoskorokkeelle, sinne menee Helmut Lingen,
The
Pia
garlanding
Koskela.
ceremony is underway here in Imatra for the sidecars. We've still got the two strokes to come, of course. The 250s and the 350s. Very happy Helmut Lingen with Kim Freeman on third. On the podium, Joni and Tero Manninen on second place. So here we go with the national anthem of Finland once again here at Imatra. So congratulations yet again to Markku Artiola and Matti Liekari. So it might not have been the greatest or largest field in the world, but the sidecars have certainly provided lots of entertainment here at Imatra over the weekend. And if ever you needed encouragement in life, there is a picture to behold. Despite being in a wheelchair for almost 30 years, Markku Artiola proving that just because you are in a wheelchair, it means that your quality of life can be compounded. Here he is at Imatra, a legendary racetrack, and taking the spoils yet again. Confirmation of those results once more. Artiola and Liekari in first place. The Manninens in second. Lingen and Freeman completing the podium in third. Mäkelä, Loikala fourth. Kusk and Perlaid in fifth. And the Hummels in sixth. We saw Mäkelä, Soppa. We didn't see it, but we saw the aftermath of it. We saw them going off. Everyone seems to be fine. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back soon with more racing. Hello again from the Jarno Saarinen circuit at Imatra in Finland. We're about to have Supersport 600cc machines racing for the final time this weekend. It's the second round here of the International Road Racing Championship. And it's good to see out on the grid 95 Jorn Hamburg. So he will be a fancied front runner, of course. Behind him, though, number 18, Pauli Pekkanen. Victorious earlier today. But it is the Jorn Hamburg who starts in pole position. Marek Červený from the Czech Republic, also on the front row of the grid. We don't have Peter Nyman, of course. Here is Pauli Pekkanen having to start from row 2 this time. But Pauli Pekkanen certainly really found his feet and his form earlier on today. And alongside him on row 2, Thomas Walter. 5th place finishes for him in both the 600 races that we've had. We've had a championship race and an open race in this class here. And just completing row number 2, a man who is getting faster and more confident with every lap that he completes here of this circuit, Gary Johnson. Absolutely loving his time here in Finland. Very first time that he's raced here. Mika Uski heading row number 3. Another of the local Finnish heroes. And the sun coming out yet again. It's been out, but the cloud just breaking a little bit more. Erwan Banvart in the middle of row number 3. So he's from Switzerland. And completing row 3, another of the Finns, Ansi Koski. So plenty of Finnish interest throughout this. Will we be hearing the Finnish national anthem at the end of this race, or will it be a different national anthem for the first time today? Going on to row 4, Sebastian Froscher. So the German rider for Team Schleiser-Dreieck on the Yamaha. I mentioned 2 for Thomas Vendel, number 21. And completing row 4 will be another Finn, Markus Kilpalainen. Rico Vetter, sorry. I don't know where Markus Kilpalainen's gone. So Kilpalainen was showing, sorry, yes, he is further back. So yeah, Rico Vetter completing row 4. 3-minute board is being displayed. They'll be going out for a formation lap after this. So they've had a sighting lap. Come in, any adjustments that they wanted to do, they'll have made. But we are not too far away from the formation lap. And then we will go racing yet again here at Imatra. 10-lap race distance this time. We were due to do 8 laps in the earlier race, but of course, following Nyman's crash, which caused the red flag, we had a rerun over 5 laps. So this time a little bit more distance for them to cover. An extra 10 kilometers or so. And the temperature continues to rise here at Imatra. It's getting hotter and hotter. It's been in the 30s for the past couple of days, in the 20s today. So not too far away from the clearing the grid. We had some great entertainment earlier from the likes of Giacomo Agostini, who was back out on the MV Agusta, having first raced here back in 1965, 57 years ago, which is quite remarkable. And he just looked just as comfortable on the bike today as he probably did back then. I wasn't around then to witness that first time around, but and also we had a local rider out on the Kawasaki H2R machine. So a minute to go then. We are getting very, very close to the start of the formation lap, and then we'll have 10 laps of racing around Imatra today. So the grid being cleared then ahead of the Supersport race for the International Road Racing Championship. It's the second race of this weekend for the second round of that championship. Gary Johnson, a wild card entry, of course. And that gap, just in case you've joined us at the front there, that should have been Peter Nyman. But he low-sided in the first open Supersport race earlier today. And so therefore went off to hospital, and the good news is he's okay. So once this grid is cleared, we will be out for a formation lap. Another good sized grid again here at Imatra in the 600cc class. We are not too far away. Once that red flag is folded, put away, and the signal to go, the riders will be off and making their way down to the very famous first turn, Huvat. They turn right and they go across the railway line, made famous, of course, by Barry Sheene and Kenny Roberts, etc. When I say it was always famous, but the very famous pictures of them. Gary Johnson awake sharply, wants a little bit of open road by the looks of things. This is how they'll line up. So 1 and 2 is row 1. Numbers 3, 4, and 5 is row 2. 6, 7, and 8 is row 3. 9, 10, and 11 is row 4. 12, 13, and 14 is row 5. So as I said earlier, a very good sized grid. Fortunately, Supersport 600cc racing looks to be under threat somewhat, but at the moment, plenty of machines still around. So once they go through Huvat, they're into Ita Nordic, then Techno Safe Ukenhauta. Then it's out here onto the back straight of ES Technology. Absolutely fly down here, and then hard on the brakes for Kona Pico. And they come out of there, this little blast down to the next one, Kuman, Trucchi Palavello. From there, it's the right-hander at Ovarco. This is coming into Ovarco. Then once they go around that right-hand turn, it's over the bridge, which has been raised. It was a lot flatter in the past, but because of the railway line below it, they had to raise it. That's Imatra and Kulapula. Then this right-hand turn going into Josinen, Diesel Asenas. Into SUF Helsinki, and then Mitra. And when they come out of Mitra, down into the dip at Imatra and Kona. And they'll form up again, just as number 95, Jorn Hamburg, does on BMW Bavaria Laakkonen. So there's going to be a little spot where Nijman should be for the guys on row 2 to try and exploit if they can. It should also work for the likes of Jorn Hamburg from the Netherlands. On the performance racing Achterhoek Yamaha in pole position. At least he knows he won't have the guy behind him, but Pekkanen is right behind him on row 2. So Hamburg, Pekkanen, Chavena, Walter, Johnson, all on the front 2 rows. Who is it going to be this time? Over 10-lap race distance. The lights are about to go out, and away we go racing at Imatra. It is a good start from Hamburg. Johnson looking strong from row 2 as well. There they come, almost 4 abreast, and Pauknen from row 2 is going to lead into turn 1 into Huta Huvat. And it is and Johnson's going to go third. A good start too from Thomas Vendel on 21, trying to go up the inside. But it is Pekkanen who leads. Hamburg is second. Johnson is into third indeed. A little wobble. This is a really tricky part of the track. Through techno-safe Ukenhouter. But Johnson, cracking start from him. But the best start of all going to his teammate Pauli Pekkanen. Row 2 as well. Hamburg in pole position going up into first place. Number 11, of course, is Tia Seimer, just bringing up the rear, the female competitor in this one. Marek Chavena will be disappointed not to have improved from a front row start. Johnson going up the inside. Johnson goes up the inside of Hamburg. So as I said earlier, Johnson's getting more and more, growing more and more confident with each turn of the wheel here. He's got a Bridgestone rear and a Pirelli front. He's never ridden on a Bridgestone ever in his life. He says as soon as the Pirelli went in, he felt really comfortable, and he's looking really comfortable. He's taking the fight to Pauli Pekkanen out in front. So Gary Johnson, wildcard rider here in Finland, and looking very strong on this opening lap. Hamburg in third place, Chavena back in fourth, Walter is fifth, Vendel is sixth. Pekkanen and Johnson, teammates. It was Pekkanen that arranged for Johnson to have a ride here in Finland. That might just come back to bite him on the backside. But Pekkanen looking really strong on this opening lap. Johnson will do very well, especially on a machine that's not quite as good as Pekkanen's, I'd imagine. Well, certainly it's 10 years old, so it certainly won't be. Pekkanen won't be on a machine that's older than 10 years. Hamburg still in third place. But Gary Johnson, who was in the earlier open race up into second place in the early stages, he eventually missed out on a podium finish. He'd be delighted to get a podium this time, so he's really trying all out. So Johnson still in second place, still keeping Pekkanen within his sights. Marek Chavena as well from the Czech Republic, still very much in position. Walter, the customary fifth place for him as well. He was fifth in both races, and he finds himself, Thomas Walter, in fifth place again as they come down this back straight. What a glorious sight this is. Just gives you a little bit more of an idea of how fast these guys are as Pekkanen opens up that gap. It's more than half a second now over Johnson. It's half a second at the moment, but that is certainly pushing more towards a second. So they come into Kymen Trikki-Palivello, then into Ovako. Yes, it is just 9/10 of a second, just a shade inside 1 second, the gap between first and second place. But Johnson still got Hamburg and Chavena on his rear. Walter still holding fifth, Vendel sixth, Froscher back in seventh. Plenty of battles going further on. There is a cracking battle right down just inside the top 10 between Banvart, Klaas-Savoyen, Uski, Koski, Blacker and Vetter. Really all together, just like 125 or 252 stroke races, really tight. And Johnson just losing a little bit more ground to his teammate as they begin lap number 3. And Hamburg has got Chavena getting a little bit more closer to him as they go over the railway line. Gary Johnson still in second, so it's a triumph 1-2 as things stand. Oh, Gary Johnson just really taking it right out, and that might just have cost him a little bit of exit speed as they go down RVS Technology. Here they come, absolutely flying. And Hamburg has just closed in a little bit, and Hamburg might be fancying his chances up the inside. Indeed he is. Hamburg just leaves it a little bit later than Johnson as they go into Kona Pico. So Johnson back to third, and he's now got the Czech Republic rider Marek Červený just behind him as well. Can Johnson retaliate? Can he respond to the challenge that's just been thrown down to him by Hamburg? See Hamburg with as they come out of Ovarco, that little, and Johnson did say to me earlier that around Ovarco, etc., and into this bit, he was just struggling. It just wasn't clicking with him. Belly pan is very close to the ground. Pauli Pekkanen, who was pulling away from Gary Johnson, now has Hamburg a little bit closer than Johnson was. And Johnson, I fear, is going to lose third place to Červený, coming down into turn one at Huta-Huvat. Indeed, here he comes, Červený up the inside. Johnson is going to have to yield, and indeed he does, so he goes back to fourth place. He'll try and hang on for the toe, though, will Johnson. So he'll be very happy with his start. He's improved his starts today, has Gary Johnson. Certainly got away from row 2 up into second place. But now it looks perhaps, with the third race distance completed, that he may not get that podium position he so desired. Thomas Walter still back in fifth place. Very familiar for him. Both Gary Johnson and Michael Dunlop both really enjoying their time here in Imatra, really enjoying this racetrack. So they go through Cuman, Truki, Palavello into Ovarco and over Imatra and Kula-Pula. That gap now just 1.4 seconds between Pekkanen and Hamburg. Now, what can Jorn Hamburg do about Pauli Pekkanen? At the moment, what he can't do is get close enough to even think about fashioning a move to take first place. Marek Červený is still there in third place. Gary Johnson still in fourth, just losing a little bit of ground. Thomas Walter in fifth. Walter and Johnson had a really good battle as Johnson just backs it in slightly into Huta-Huvat. So Pauli Pekkanen, already a 600cc race winner earlier today, just riding the curb. And here they come down, RVS Technology again. Oh, a little bit of movement, a hop, skip and a jump from Hamburg, or certainly a hint of one. So Jorn Hamburg still in second position. The young Dutchman from Performance Racing Achterhoek Yamaha. And Pauli Pekkanen is managing this race from the front, really, isn't he? We're coming up to half race distance, and Pekkanen, no one seems to have any kind of answer to him, even though he started from row 2. Pekkanen looking very much the part and looking, even at this stage of the race, an odds-on, not an odds-on, but certainly a very comfortable race winner. Little rise, little lift on the front as they go through Imatra Kona. And Gary Johnson just really losing touch with the top three now. Marek Chavani, though, still very much in the picture in third position. Can he do anything about Jorn Hamburg? And this is the one of the battles I was telling you about earlier. Koski, Banvart, Uski, Blacker and Veta. All this has been going on all the way through. There's hardly anything between them. Here's Koski in 8th place, just coming into Huta Huvat. And then Ita Nordic. But some battle going on between us. Certainly look at the three of them further back. Yeah, Uski, Veta and Blacker. Absolutely fantastic racing. Here they come again. So Mikko Uski showing as 8, but he's actually bike 9. Pekkanen, meanwhile, has a 1.2 lead over Hamburg now as they come down. And on a move from number 85, Blacker. So that puts Uski back a position, back down to 11th. And these three having a proper dice. Onnish Blacker. Bike 85 on the Yamaha, Uski number 9. Veta still very much in the picture there, but we're back with the race leaders as Pauli Pekkanen completes another lap. So 4 laps to go. Pauli Pekkanen with the best lap of the race so far, 1:57.014. Here comes Rigo. Now, somehow, Jorn Hamburg has managed to find a little bit of time. He's taken the lead down to half a second between Pekkanen and himself. You can see he's visibly gaining as they come down along RVS technology into Kona Pico. Well, there's me saying Pekkanen's got this pretty much sewn up. Hamburg has got other ideas. And because Hamburg is now on the hurry up, it's leaving Chavani back in 3rd place. So Hamburg is the man to watch as things stand at the moment. He is reeling in Pauli Pekkanen. Pekkanen, though, with the fastest lap of the race so far. But last time around, their lap times were pretty much the same, both 1:57.2s. This time, Hamburg looks a little bit faster, a little bit closer than he has done at any point in this race. Again, a little wheel lift from Pekkanen as they come down into Imatra and Kona. So across the line, 0.6 of a second was the gap. It's now 0.8 of a second, so Pekkanen still maintaining that lead. It is Hamburg that just seems to leave the braking a little bit longer, a little bit later, and that's where he's gaining ground. So Hamburg still trying to close in on Pekkanen. Chavani, another 3rd place is beckoning for him unless something happens between one of these two. And again, good exit speed by Hamburg, good corner speed all round, in fact. And he's brought that gap back down to 0.4 of a second. So Pauli Pekkanen has got a fight on his hands. He's got to work very, very hard if he's going to maintain top place in this race. And again, Hamburg, you can just see braking just that little bit later. Into Kuman Trukipala-Velo, and then around Ovarco up onto Imatra and Kula-Pula. Still Pauli Pekkanen maintaining this advantage. Jorn Hamburg just seems that perhaps just prepared to push it just that little bit more. Oh, and there's a retirement, unfortunately. And that is Byram or Boomer. 6.55, he was just inside the top 20. Marek Červená from the Czech Republic still in third place, and it's looking like a distant third place now. He knows that at least a podium position is on the cards for him. Six-tenths of a second again. Hamburg leaving it late on the brakes as they come down into Huuta-Huvat, and then on the exit around through Ita Nordic. And into Technosafe Ukkenhauta. Hamburg just closing up that ground, but just can't seem to find that little bit he needs just to close it. I mean, 0.3 of a second. We're on the penultimate lap. But Pekkanen looks really composed, really established. Hamburg just looks a little bit more ragged. But that's because he's trying to close this gap down to Pauli Pekkanen. Pekkanen already a race winner in the 600 class today. That was in the earlier open race. Gary Johnson still in fourth place, however. He's got Volta again. Thomas Volta not too far behind in fifth place. They had a great battle yesterday, the pair of them, the Englishman and the German, in which the German just managed to nick it on the last lap. Talking of last laps, we've only got one more lap to go in a moment. And Pauli Pekkanen, who has led all the way through this race, now has Jorn Hamburg pretty much breathing down his neck. We could be on for another super fast finish to a race here at Imatra. Pekkanen from Hamburg. And Hamburg really has to try and use the brakes if he can as they come down into turn one at Huuta-Huvat. So Hamburg, it's the last chance saloon for the young Dutchman if he's going to win this race. So there's another rider, 55, that's Makala. He's a retiree as well. So time is running out for Hamburg. Pauli Pekkanen. You can see just Hamburg each time just seems to gain a little bit of ground, but then they'll head down along RVS technology. And it's going to take a mistake, I think, from Pekkanen, or a really the biggest, boldest move ever in the world from Jorn Hamburg if he's going to do anything. But Pauli Pekkanen managing it from the front. Hamburg frustrated, still in second place. And he must be urging Pekkanen to make a little mistake, just a wrong gear selection. But Pekkanen is poetry in motion here as he goes through Ovarco up onto Imatra and Kula-Pula. Oh, what a big blow from Pekkanen. Oh my goodness, a massive blow from Pekkanen. Just with the checkered flag not too far behind, and Pauli Pekkanen up in smoke. And Jorn Hamburg Well, first of all, he'd been very concerned as soon as he saw that smoke, and he's looking around to see what's going on. But Jorn Hamburg, it looked as if he was going to have to settle for second place, but Jorn Hamburg comes through. The fans down through Imatra and Kona wondering where's Pekkanen gone. So Hamburg takes it. Chavena will be second, and Gary Johnson, if he can hold off Thomas Volter, will find himself on the podium. So here comes Gary Johnson. He's got Volter right behind him, but Gary Johnson will take third place and a podium on his debut at Imatra. So Gary Johnson takes third, but his concern, of course, will be for Pauli Pekkanen, who just as they came over from Imatra and Kuala, smoke pouring out of the exhaust. So what a shame for Pauli Pekkanen. 10 laps race distance. Froscher's gone through. Koski has gone through along with Vendel. But Pauli Pekkanen, at least it's not too far from the paddock where the bike blew. But it goes to say, or just so it goes to show that, as the saying goes, it's not over till the rather large lady sings. So the riders making their way back round, taking in the applause of the fans that are lined the circuit. Well, again, just as we were expecting Pekkanen to take the checkered flag, bang, drama on the very last lap here at Imatra. And Jorn Hamburg from the Netherlands, so we'll hear the Dutch national anthem. He takes the win here in the final 600 race of the weekend at Imatra. The 60th anniversary of the meeting on the newly named Jarno Saarinen circuit. So disappointment for Pekkanen, delight for his teammate Johnson. So there we go, folks. Jorn Hamburg takes the win from Marek Chevenet. Gary Johnson in third, Thomas Volter fourth, Sebastian Froscher in fifth, and Anzi Koski in sixth place. Vendel, Banvart, Vetter and Blacker rounding out the top 10. Uski, Rigo, Cregnio, Jochum and Wouter complete the top 15. Well done to Simer in 16th, Sami Semesto in 17th, and unfortunately no finishes for Pekkanen, Makala, Baum or Claes Savayan, who was in that battle for so long, just inside for 8th place. So Pekkanen, it seemed as if he was managing that race, but never say never. As he found, as we can look back again at that race, no Peter Nyman, of course, following his crash in the earlier Open 600 race. But from row 2, a fantastic start from Pauli Pekkanen, getting ahead with Gary Johnson going into second through the early stages. So Johnson and Pekkanen, the Pauku team racing teammates. And Johnson was looking strong in the early stages, keeping Jorn Hamburg back in third place, with Marek Chaveni back in fourth. So as they completed the opening lap of 10. Pauli Pekkanen just faultless throughout, really, and it just goes to show what can happen. Hamburg managed to find his way past Johnson, and Johnson couldn't hold on to third place either. Marek Chaveni soon took that from him. But all the while out in front, it was these two who were battling away, Pekkanen and Hamburg. And Hamburg, you were just thinking, well, there's nothing he can do about Pekkanen. But with the race drawing to a close and coming up to the end to complete 10 laps, and just as you're thinking, well, Pauli Pekkanen's got this, and so that's what Jorn Hamburg will be thinking, I'm going to have to settle for second place, as they came out of Cuman, Trukipala-Velo into Kuala, and then over the top of Imatra and Kuala, bang. And Jorn Hamburg did very well, suddenly found himself in a lot of smoke, and Pauli Pekkanen pulling over. But this young man from the Netherlands going on. So drama on the final lap as he takes the checkered flag and the victory. Second place, Marek Cerveny. And third, Gary Johnson, just ahead of Thomas Volter. So the rest of the machines making their way back to the paddock. Although we have a garlanding ceremony, we can hear from Gary Johnson now.
Team Paulie's obviously blown up, gifted me a third place. I'm chuffed with the third, but you know, I wish it could have come in a different way. But Paulie's a great guy. You know, he's had some good results and stuff. I'm pleased to get one myself. You know, I'm just loving being here in Finland. You know, the weather's been unbelievable for us. The bike, it's a 10-year-old 675 Triumph super stock bike. I'm running on Bridgestone rear tyre I've never rid before, and in all fairness, I'm maybe not trusting it as good as the tyre is. On some of them corners, they're pulling me, and it's not the bike, it's me. So I can't thank the team enough. They've been absolutely fantastic. This little baby, she's a fast super stock bike, I'll give you that. At the start of the race, if you rev the nuts off it, I could slipstream them. As long as I get out the corner, I could actually pass them. Now, that's pretty impressive for a fat guy like me on a 600.
Yeah, a small bike, a fat guy. Okay, that's not a good idea. But I think that Paukku team will adapt you and will be a Finn later on.
I don't know what the tradition is, but now I've joined the team, we're going to get merrily proper drunk.
It's very easy to learn. We start with the sauna, and after that, what you said. I mean, fishing.
If that's what you call it, I'll agree with you.
Okei, me say that. Annetaan Garylle aplodit. Mahtava mies, mahtava ihminen. Mennään palkintojakojen voittaja. Up to the podium. Voittaja winner, segrare, Jon Hamberg.
So we're ready for the garlanding ceremony. Great to hear from Gary Johnson there. Here is our race winner, Jord Hamberg. Marek Cerveny in second position.
Third, almost a Finn, but from UK, Gary Johnson.
Not often you get to stand with a two-time Isle of Man TT winner on a podium. But we'll now hear the Dutch national anthem. So congratulations once again to Jord Hamberg. So we're going to take a commercial break. Coming up next, it's two-stroke racing, and we're going to finish the day, of course, with the Superbikes. So stay tuned, don't go away.
Yamaha TZ 3,5. 11 ruutu numero 363 Aimo Mauravaara Imatran moottorikerho. Yamaha TZ 87 vuotinen kuutiota 250. Ja sitten 12 ruutu numero 5 Ari Kainulainen Ylä-Savon moottorikerho Yamaha TZ ja pyörässä 250 kuutiota ja tosiaan kilpailun ulkopuolella sitten viimeisestä 13 ruudusta numero 53 Vesa Kaartinen Yamaha TZ 7,5 vuosimallia 77 allaan.
So we're going back to the past now here at Imatra as we celebrate 60 years of racing at this iconic Finnish racetrack, which was newly named the Jarno Saarinen Circuit this weekend. We had that ceremony yesterday, but as I say, we're going back to the past now with the ICGP class. This is two-stroke racing. And I really thought Northern Ireland was the last bastion on the planet where it came to two strokes. Well, certainly 250s and 350s. But here we have quite a few. We have TZs and RSs. We have Maxtons, all sorts of manner of machinery. And we had some great racing yesterday as well. In fact, we heard the British National Anthem, courtesy of Richard Piers-Jones, on the TZ350. He is one of two non-Finnish riders in this. Stefan Tenstad is also, he went quite well yesterday on the Rotax 250. But the rest of the field made up of Finns, so they really do enjoy their two strokes here in Finland. Plenty of 250s and the odd 350 here, there and everywhere. Richard Piers-Jones, Vesa Kaartinen is also on a 350. Timo Pavalainen, Pasi Huomanen, and Pekka Ojatsalo, all on 350s. The rest of the field all on 250s. The Yamaha TZ250s or Honda RS 250s. So we're looking down on Imatra, and what a day, or what a weekend to be here in Finland, watching the racing, enjoying a beer in the sunshine, lapping up some fantastic racing. We've still got the Superbikes to come, of course. Will we see Michael Dunlop on the grid again? It was a surprise to see him earlier. Again, we've got packed grandstands all the way around the track, all enjoying the action courtesy of the big screens that are also lining the track as well. So even when the machine's on in front of them, there's quite a few the big screens around the circuit. The organisers have really pulled the plug out this year, really trying to improve the profile of Imatra, and certainly as a destination. And it's one, if you love road racing, if you've been to the Isle of Man TT, if you've been to the Northwest 200 or the Ulster Grand Prix or the Southern 100 or any of the Irish national races at Cookstown or Tandragee or even Skerries, which is taking place this weekend, But this is a must-do. You must come here at least once and breathe in, and especially with the 250s and the 350s. Soak in the atmosphere here. It's absolutely wonderful. The weather is fantastic as well. The racing as well has been something. As we look at Rhino Ias, who took a second place yesterday. He was the leading 250 rider. However, it was Richard Piers-Jones from Great Britain on the TZ350 who took the spoils in yesterday's ICGP class race. We'll have a formation lap after this, of course. And 10-lap race distance as well, so that's asking a lot of these old two-strokers. Unless, of course, maybe we might just get a race start because, again, they can be temperamental. So 30 seconds, I think we could be on for a race start here. In fact, no, it is a formation lap. It is a formation lap. Just getting ahead of myself a little bit there. I say they don't want to keep these bikes idling for too long. We saw certainly one or two struggling to get going yesterday. In fact, I think Ari Kanalainen, I'm not too sure that he's out there on the grid today. He had issues with his machine. Not the only two strokes that we've seen here this weekend. We saw Tepi Lanciviori. He was racing around yesterday in the display parade laps. And also on both days, the legend, the greatest motorcycle racer of all time, certainly in terms of world championships and race wins, Giacomo Agostini. He was here again earlier today. And not just waving to the crowds, but absolutely blasting his 500 MV Agusta all the way around the circuit. Incredible. So we're looking down on the railway line, which goes through just after turn one. Very iconic pictures of Imatra. Every time you see pictures of Imatra or photographs, you just see Barry Sheene or Kenny Roberts going over the old railway line when this used to be the venue for the Finnish Grand Prix. Talk of bringing the Finnish Grand Prix back this year, but they seem to have been beset by problems. Fingers crossed they get that sorted for next year. At the moment, the Imatranajo Grand Prix is the place to be in Finland for motorcycle racing. And again, after you've enjoyed the racing together today, get yourself on the internet, or maybe tomorrow or whatever, go and see and find out if you can get yourself a trip to Finland next year. A few days here, taking in temperatures which have been in the 30s. Really, really warm. Warm? What am I saying? Melting. Really, really hot. And everyone keeping themselves cool with the odd beer or whatever. And sitting around the side of the track watching the racing. Proper street circuit as well. It's not the original circuit. That was something like 6 kilometers in length. This is around 5 kilometers in length. But the first race took place here back in 1962. Used to, of course, be part of the TT Formula 1 World Championship and Formula 2, of course, back in the mid-80s. So we're coming up to the start of this final two-stroke race of the weekend, the penultimate piece of action we have here at the Arno Saarinen circuit at Imatra in Finland. Just look at that, folks. I thought that was a lake when I arrived. It's actually a river that flows into Russia. And Russia just not too far away from here. So Rhino Ias in pole position. Harry Lampinen, bike 13 as well. He'll be one to watch. Matti Husari, bike 72. It's a row 2 start for him. Timo Pavalainen on bike 77 completes row number 1. Just waiting for Richard Piers-Jones to take up his position. There he is, number 33 from Great Britain on the TZ350. We have a yellow flag at the back of the grid. As soon as that changes to green, we'll have the all clear. We can see one or two spaces, unfortunately, with the likes of Harry Kainalainen, should have been. We're about to go racing, and those lights go out, and we're away. So we're racing 10 laps the race distance here at Imatra. And it looks like IAS maybe as they go down to Huuttahuvat. Oh, it's Piers-Jones from Ari Lampinen. Everyone just gingerly making their way in. There's a long way to go, of course, between now and the checkered flag. And already Piers-Jones and Lampinen. Maybe IAS just watching the clutch off the line, perhaps. Just taking it easy on that TZ250. And you don't want to burn out a clutch. So easy to do on these machines. And he finds himself in third place ahead of Pavalainen. Tenstad, the German, back in fifth place. So everyone safely away. And it's Piers-Jones and Lampinen just ahead of IAS and Pavalainen. Two little breakaway groups at the front. There's a bit of a battle going on for fifth place as well between Tenstad, Torama and Husari. But here they come down into Kona Pico. Richard Piers-Jones. Ari Lampinen just gaining a little bit of ground in the chicane. You can see the taller looking 350s, of which Piers-Jones is on one. Ari Lampinen is on the Honda RS 250. So Richard Piers-Jones, race winner yesterday. Ari Lampinen just tucking in behind as they go through Imatra and Kulapula. That's over the railway bridge. And Lampinen all over the rear of Piers-Jones. Just having to take a wide line to avoid running into the back of the British rider, and IAS and Pavalainen still very much in the picture out in third and fourth position. Tenstad, Torama, Husari all close together for fifth. There's a little bit of a gap back to Komu. So long way to go yet. Just coming up to complete the opening lap of 10 here at Imatra for Piers-Jones. Will have his name next to P1. The temperature here at Imatra continues to rise. Now Lampinen, will he try some kind of maneuver going into turn one at Huuttahuvat? Not quite close enough, so Piers-Jones. However, IAS now looking more like the form, or showing the form. And Pavalainen has just dropped off the pace in fourth position slightly. But IAS started this race in pole position. It's great watching them on the TV, but to actually hear and smell these machines, breathe them in as they go past, absolutely fantastic. I had the pleasure of that on Friday during free practice. Really amazing. So away they go then, down along the RVS technology straight into the Kona Pico hairpin. Then they'll go through Kuman, Truca, Palavello. So here they go, still Piers-Jones from Ari Lampinen. And Pavalainen's closed that gap back up. It looked as if perhaps, Lampinen looking a little bit menacing, and Lampinen is going through, and Lampinen is taking the lead. If he can turn it in time, indeed he does. So Ari Lampinen on the 250, nice and neat, goes into the lead as they go into Ovarco on lap number 2. So Lampinen leads from Piers-Jones. He is still in third place. Pavalainen still very close by in fourth. A little bit of a gap back to the battle for fifth place. So Lampinen leads on lap 2. What can Richard Piers-Jones do about that? At the moment, not too much. Ari Lampinen, having taken the lead, is now threatening to pull away. So here they come then to complete lap 2 and begin lap 3. Ari Lampinen on the RS250 crosses the line first. Richard Piers-Jones, and you just get a little bit sense more of the speed from the trackside camera. Shows how fast they're going, and it is still 5 guys in this. Tuorama's past Paavalainen, but Paavalainen did lose a little bit of ground on this section earlier on, and he might just regain that now. But Ari Lampinen already with a 1.2 second advantage. And pulling further away from Richard Piers-Jones. So there is our top 5 as we look down on them, going along from RVS Technology into Kona Pico. And that's Tenstad and Husari we're just seeing further back. The battle for 6th place, the 2 machines together. But here is Lampinen, and he's extending that lead out in front on lap 3. One thing, okay, Richard Piers-Jones may be second, but he'll be thinking to himself, okay, I'm the leading 350. Over the railway bridge, which has been raised. It used to be a little bit flatter. Oh, he's can't taking it right out. Ari Lampinen, no need to go onto the pavement, but he's used it. So Ari Lampinen, even though he's out in the lead, continuing to push, and he's extending that advantage as well. He's now up to 2.3 seconds. No surprise that he's got the fastest lap of the race so far, 2:17.7. That will come down, I would imagine, in just a second. Richard Piers-Jones still in 2nd place. Ias in 3rd, just trying to stay in touch. Tuorama in 4th. Paavalainen losing ground, still in 5th place. And indeed, Ari Lampinen does put in the fastest lap, 2:16.369. So Juha-Matti Husari and Stefan Tenstad still battling it out for 6th place as well. However, Husari with a little bit more air between himself and Tenstad as they go on to lap number 4. 3 seconds the advantage for Ari Lampinen. And it's easy to think, oh, this is Lampinen's race now, but just as we saw the previous 600 race with Pauli Pekkanen, it's not over until that checkered flag is waved. To finish first, you first have to finish. As they race, you can see in the background, everyday life still goes on around Imatra. Still from Richard Piers-Jones. Ias in 3rd, Tuorama 4th, Paavalainen 5th, Husari in 6th place, and he's opening up a gap over Tenstad now, who's in 7th. Juha-Matti is still in 8th place, so a long way back. Then it's Komu in 9th and Moravare in 10th. Ari Lampinen this time a little bit neater on the exit, certainly not as wide as we saw in the previous lap. And he's just extending that lead. So now really, as we're coming up to begin lap number 5, you have to think, well, it's not so much each other they're having to compete against, it's actually getting that bike to the finish line. And we know how temperamental the 2 strokes can be. So even as it looks increasingly like the gaps are getting bigger between each rider on this racetrack, it does look as if perhaps it may down to be reliability now. That's their biggest competitor between here and the checkered flag. Still Ari Lampinen with the fastest time, 2:16.369. So he didn't improve. He did a 2:16.973 on that last lap. So pretty similar, just half a second slower that time around. So here's Torama. Sorry, that's Piers Jones, with ES still behind him in third place, but a little bit closer now than he has been at any other point during this race. In fact, since they started, when they were sat close to each other near the grid. But ES now, that's the smallest gap, half a second. And here comes ES up the inside, perhaps. No, he's just tucking back in. Not close enough. Richard Pearce-Jones still holds second place. However, it is coming increasingly under threat from this man. So Rhino ES on the TZL 250. Trying to close in, and already Ari Lampinen is pulling away, but they've got slower traffic in front of them. So that's Kartinen, 53. Just manages to stay off the racing line. Well done to Vesa Kartinen. So race leader still, Ari Lampinen, extending that gap with every lap that ticks off. So we are at halfway through the race. We're at half race distance as he comes across BMW Bavaria Laakkonen. So what has ES got in terms of straight line speed? Of course, ES is on the 250, whereas Pearce-Jones is on the 350. However, ES might just be able to gain some ground on the brakes as they go down into turn one. Lampinen's already through. You can just see the railway line just in the distance. The great thing as well, with the more and more racing that takes place here this weekend, more and more rubber is being put down on the circuit. We've not had any rain, of course, so it will be becoming super sticky. And Lampinen just lifting it up onto the curb. Oh, and ES has gone through on Richard Jones. Richard Pearce-Jones is now back into third place. In fact, what's going on with Richard Pearce-Jones? He's now fourth. So maybe an issue for the British rider. As I said, reliability is the biggest threat to these guys. And Richard Pearce-Jones, who won yesterday on the 350, I'm guessing something's terminal with that machine. And therefore, he's not going to make it to the checkered flag. So that means this man is now up into second place. But he's a good 6 seconds down on the race leader, Ari Lampinen. So a shame for Richard Pearce-Jones, who looked fairly solid in second place. Certainly looked good for a podium finish, but however, that now is not going to happen. So Rhino ES still in second. And that obviously promotes Markku Torama on the RS250 up into third place. And he's got a good distance between himself and Pavalainen in fourth. However, what happened to Richard Pearce-Jones could happen to any other rider in this race, of course. Ari Lampinen still with the fastest lap, 2:16.369. His last one was a 2:17.1. He crosses the line this time, and it's a 2:17.0. So a tenth of a second faster on this lap than he was on the previous one. ES, though, is going a little bit quicker. Still Lampinen with the fastest lap of the race, but ES has brought that gap down to 5.1 seconds. It was 8 laps, the race distance yesterday, if I remember correctly. Here's a close battle for fourth, Pavalainen and Husari. Husari really has closed in on Pavalainen as this race has gone on. Pavalainen on the Maxim 350, Hussari on the Honda RS 250. And still Pavalainen ahead of Hussari. And Hussari with good corner speed and good exit speed as well. Trying to get a toe, trying to get in the slipstream of his compatriot. Let's say trying to now get out of the slipstream. You can see how warm it is, the haze on the road. And we have a change for 4th place. Hussari goes through. Can he slow in time? Indeed he does. So Pavalainen back to 5th place again. So Pavalainen was in 5th place, of course. But the retirement of Richard Pearce-Jones promoted him back up to 4th, but now he finds himself back down into 5th. So Juha-Matti Hussari ahead of Timo Pavalainen. Stefan Tenstad still in 6th place. The gap at the front, by the way, has come down somewhat. ES is now just 3.5 seconds behind Ari Lampinen. So either Lampinen is perhaps, as he comes through to complete another lap, whether Lampinen is just using the time that he's got in hand to his advantage, or whether the ES is up the ante. Well, Lampinen is a little bit slower that time, 2:18.3. And the fastest lap goes to Rhino ES, 2:15.6. So ES is the fastest man out there, over 1 lap distance, of course. Lampinen is still leading, but it's come down to 2.3 seconds. So ES, maybe that bike is now running as perfect as he was hoping to. At its maximum. And now Lampinen's lead is becoming increasingly under threat. So 2.5 laps to go. Lampinen with a 2.3 second lead over ES. Torama looking in a fairly solid 3rd. Hussari still in 4th, just ahead of Pavalainen. But 2.3 seconds is the gap. So what will be the gap very shortly? It looks pretty similar. Lampinen is still maintaining this advantage out in front. Some traffic ahead, but it shouldn't prove too much of a problem. There'll be more Avara. Martin has just crossed the line, but here comes Ari Lampinen over Imatran Kulapula. And it's gone out to 3.5 seconds. Back out to 3.5 seconds, maybe. Lampinen may have got a board, perhaps, and then he's got the hurry up. He's just coming up on Moravara now. He should really pass him on the exit of Mitra, which in fact he's going to do. So that works out okay, and it'll work out okay for ES as well. Here's that battle further back between Hussari and Pavalainen. Pavalainen now just 0.5 second further back in 5th place. He's found a second from somewhere. ES, meanwhile, has started his penultimate lap. Just 3.3 seconds behind the race leader, Ari Lampinen. Here comes the battle for the battle, I should say, for 3rd. Turama. Battle for 4th, Hussari and Pavalainen. Turama's gone through. And another fastest lap of the race, this time Ari Lampinen, 2:15.04. So he's lapping around 3 or 4 seconds faster than he was a couple of laps ago, Ari Lampinen. And you can tell because that gap now has gone out to 4.2 seconds. And as I was saying, maybe ES has that bike running as beautifully as he can. The same can now be said, of course, for Ari Lampinen. Moravara just coming into the picture, down in 9th place. Here comes Torama, still holding third. Meanwhile, Lampinen. Where is he? Yes, there he is. So that gap is certainly bigger now than 4.2 as he goes through Ovarko for the penultimate time and over Imatran Kulapula. So Ari Lampinen with around 6 kilometers to go until the checkered flag. Again, takes it right out to the curb. So Ari Lampinen, yeah, 5.9 seconds. Ias looks as if he said second will do me. Ari Lampinen coming up to begin his final lap. And he'll just be praying that this machine holds together the 250 all the way to the checkered flag. Maybe perhaps Ias knows that the game is up and is perhaps nursing his machines. His times have dropped right off. He's certainly not going to make up 6 seconds on the final lap on Lampinen. So I think Ias has said, okay, second place will do me. Let's just get this baby home. Ari Lampinen, by the way, is not saying that. He's just done the fastest lap again, 2:13.053. So he's got a 6.4 second advantage going into this final lap. Here he comes in the distance, Ari Lampinen. Just got a couple of slower riders to negotiate his way past. Kartinen is going to be lapped again. So is Lampinen. He's got time in hand. Ari Lampinen. He should pass the other rider just ahead of him as well. So Komu is going to get the Lampinen treatment on this final lap as well. So Lampinen on bike 13 as they come through Ovarko into Imatran Kulapula. And then into, as they come out of that right-hand turn. Meanwhile, it's still on between Husari and Pavalainen. And Husari still just has 4th place from Pavalainen. They're having a right old ding-dong on this final lap. Meanwhile, Ari Lampinen. It's been a fantastic performance from him all the way. From flag to flag. So Ari Lampinen is going to be our race winner today on the final day of action here at Imatra. It's victory for Ari Lampinen. Much to the delight of his team on pit lane. So Lampinen wins, Ias takes second place. Got to wait a few seconds longer for Torama to confirm his position on the podium. He's coming into view now towards our commentary position. Here he comes. So that was Torama just going past the checkered flag. So congratulations once again to Ari Lampinen. What about Husari and Pavalainen? Oh, it's going to be Husari in the end. Husari goes through to confirm 4th place. He's had a great scrap with Pavalainen through that one. And we've got to wait another 10 or so seconds for Stefan Tenstad to come through. So spare a thought as well for Richard Pearce-Jones, who led the early stages of that race, found himself in second. But unfortunately, somewhere along the line, something happened. I can only assume a technical issue. And therefore, he failed to finish the race along with Hakuli. So Lampinen confirmed as the race winner from Rhino Ias. Markku Torama in 3rd. Juha-Matti Husari in 4th. Timo Pavalainen 5th. Stefan Tenstad, the first of the non-Finns. He'll take that as a top 6 finish. And Timo Pavalainen, by the way, the leading 350 rider. And he'll, even though he finished 5th, he'll be going home saying, yep, I was the top 350 in that one. Pasi Huomanen in 7th. Mika Sakari Komu in 8th. Amy Moravara 9th. Vesa Karttunen in 10th. What an absolutely stunning location to go bike racing as well. That's Russia in the distance there. So let's have a quick look, a quick recap of the best moments of that race. It was Ias who began the race in pole position, but it wasn't Ias who would arrive at turn 1 in first place. That belonged to Richard Piers-Jones, with Ari Lampinen in second place. Piers-Jones on the 350, having won yesterday's ICGP race. Lavalainen just bringing up the rear of the front 4. So Lampinen chasing down Piers-Jones and eventually passing him as they went into Kona Pico. Not Kona Pico, sorry, as they came out of Kuman Trikki-Palavello and into Ovarco. And Ari Lampinen, once he got past Piers-Jones, looked really, really in charge. Piers-Jones unfortunately failed to finish. He was a retirement. Ari Lampinen, though, managed to go across the line to take the win here at Imatra today. So we have a garlanding ceremony still to come, of course. A quick check of the temperature shows that we are still in the 20s. Not as hot today as it was yesterday, but it's still hot. And that's the best way, a nice cool drink just to cool down. And this is exactly how you'd expect to enjoy road racing in the sunshine with lots of great food and drink. You know, beautiful location, a wonderful setting. And you can see why, even though when Imatra lost its status as a world championship venue, they managed, okay, not every year, but they've managed to keep racing going here at Imatra. So here comes our race winner. So Ari Lampinen accepts the applause from the crowd. And we should hear an interview with him coming up very, very shortly. Still to come, of course, we got the Superbike race, which will be the final action of Imatra 2022. We'll already be looking forward to next year, 2023. We really, really hope that if you're sat at home today enjoying this, that you can join us next year here in Imatra. It really is worth the effort. 3 days of action. There is Ari Lampinen. And Ari Lampinen, of course, the race winner, and also, to the delight of the locals, this is his hometown. So a man brought up on Imatra, racing and winning in Imatra. So we'll hear from the race winner very, very shortly before we have the garlanding ceremony. It will be, of course, be conducted in Finnish.
Elikkä Ari.
The great performance from Ari Lampinen.
Tulleepi tänne
keeping that bike out at the front of the field.
Eli Kari, tässä sun viikonlopusta voidaan...
So here we go, folks. We're going to get a winner's interview and then we'll have the garlanding ceremony. So
tuntuu siltä, että on vähän vaikeuksia, mutta sanotaan nyt näin, tämä perinteinen lause vaikeuksien kautta voittoon.
Joo, näin se taas meni. Ollut vähän tämä kausi alku vaikeita tuolla SM sekä täälläkin.
Eli nyt sitten ollaan siinä vaiheessa, että nyt ne voitot on takana, tai ei voitot, vaan vaikeudet takapäin ja voitot edessäpäin.
Joo, näillä mennään sitten. Ja pojat teki kovan työn, tosi kovan työn. Kiitos. Kiitos kaikille tukijoille ja etenkin mekaanikoille ja vielä pyöräomistaja Piispa Karille. Niin tosi paljon kiitoksia.
Me kiitämme ja me nousemme sinne korokkeelle numero 1, Ari Lampinen.
So there we go. We've heard from the race winner, Ari Lampinen.
Hyvä. Ei tän sitä eilisestä muuttunut mihinkään kakkosia, mutta pitää olla ihan tyytyväinen. Arskan tiesi, että se on kovaa, ei sille maha.
Messin Arskan viereen aplodin saattamana. Onneksi olkoon. Ja kolmantena Markku
Also
Taurama.
just had a brief
Markku,
word there
mitenkäs viikonloppu on
with
sujahtunut?
Rhino ES.
Kiitos, ihan hyvin. Remppaa tullut tehtyä vähän, mutta kyllähän tämä on niin kuin ihme homma, kun 70-luvulla käytiin näitä kisoja katsomassa ja sitten 2000-luvulla päästiin ajamaan muistoajoa ja se oli hieno homma ja nyt päässyt ajamaan kilpaa ja vielä pääsee podiumille, niin kyllä tämä niin kuin vanhan miehen mieltä lämmittää.
No se lämmittää vielä enemmän kuin pääsee sinne
Final word there from Markku Taurama
ja kolmonen.
as he skips his way over to the podium.
Hyvät naiset ja herrat, maamme laulu, ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Finland.
There we go. The Finnish national anthem again. Will it be the last time we hear it this weekend? Or will we hear it again at the end of the Superbike race? Will we hear the Dutch national anthem? Will we hear the British national anthem? Will Michael Dunlop make it onto the grid for the Superbike race? Champagne time though here in the sunshine at Imatra. Ari Lampinen, number 13, local boy, does good. Marco Taurama wins the Champagne race. It's just to soak his two rivals as well. Richard Piers-Jones experienced this moment yesterday. Today it's Ari Lampinen's turn. And it's great as well to see 250s and 350s and two-stroke machines racing still at Imatra. And it may not have been the biggest grid in the world, but it was still a big enough grid for them to continue racing two-strokes here. So one more race still to go. That's the Superbikes, but we'll give you the results. First of all, confirmation, Lampinen, Ias, Taurama, Vasari, Pavalainen and Tenstad rounding out the top six. Huomanen, Komu, Moravara and Kartinen completing the top 10. No finishes, unfortunately, for Richard Piers-Jones or Ilkka Hakuli. So we're going to take a commercial break. Stick around, folks, because we got some Superbikes on the way. So then, folks, this is it, the final piece of action here at Imatra today. But if you can just look in the distance, it's a little bit of cloud there, which we've not seen all weekend. It doesn't look dark enough to have any rain in it, but this is Finland, this is Scandinavia. Perhaps there might be a few drops in there. Hopefully that it's not coming this way, and if it does, hopefully it doesn't drop anything on the circuit. The great news is, folks, if you're a fan of Michael Dunlop, he was the last bike to leave pit lane, so he will form up on the grid this time. He's had so many issues with that Honda this weekend. It's not his own Honda, it belongs to the Rico Penskofer team. And they've managed to put that, it's a super stock bike in a Superbike race. There's some Superbike spec bits in it, but there's all sorts of, they've had all sorts of issues with it all weekend. He did a fantastic effort in the earlier Superbike race, managing to complete 3 laps before pulling in. Fingers crossed he can complete 10 laps this time around. I'd be very surprised, folks. It would be something. He is a very special talent, of course, but I'd be very, very surprised if he manages to go the race distance, considering the number of faults I was being told about. Not faults as much, but issues, shall we say, that I was told about last night that was going on with that bike. Just the fact that he's on the grid today is a testament to both him and his team and those around him in getting the machine out on the grid. Absolutely incredible from them. So we have just had a sighting lap. We're going to have a formation lap after this. Ten laps is the race distance. Costamo has got to be the man to beat yet again. The Finnish rider really dominant in the earlier open race. This is the International Road Racing Championship. There is points to be awarded in this one. Great to see Vincent Lambois on bike 155 on the grid. You can see those few little marks down the side of his leathers from yesterday. 55 as well. Lucas Mora, who had a great result earlier on today. We just saw. So there's the man in pole position, Erno Costamo. Really got away well in the opening Superbike race and dictated the pace from there, really. You can see Didier Grams back on the end of row number 2, number 1. So there's David Datzer, also a great performance earlier from the German. And Pierre-Yves Bihan, really, if he'd have had a better start first time around in the earlier Superbike race, who knows? But he battled his way through to a 3rd place finish. Didier Grams, we all know for his exploits at Macau. It's not been his weekend so far. Perhaps this time we might just see something from him. So Joey Den Besten, he's had his moments as well this weekend. So Joey Den Besten, and what about this chap here? Michael Dunlop on the grid at Imatra. Will we see Michael Dunlop get the opportunity to prove what he can do here in Finland? And alongside him, Ville Valtonen, bike 31. So the front 3 rows. So I know a lot of people back in Northern Ireland will have their fingers crossed for Michael Dunlop. But I think really, I think if they do come back, they'll bring their own bike next time to show what they can do. They've been given a machine by Rico Penskofer, which obviously they're grateful for. But this is how they'll start. Costamo, Lambois and Mora on the front row. Datzer, Bihan, Grams on row 2. Den Besten, Dunlop, Valtonen on row 3. Fair, Blomhart, Blanc on row 4. Ratte, Elsner and Hoff on row 5. Camille Holland, Hoffman, Lauren Hoffman. I'm not too sure whether he's there actually because he blew up on Friday. Whether he's found a replacement bike remains to be seen. There might be a gap where he should be. Nico Muller is there. Gottardi, Manila and Karki, Jochen Koppinen, Röslinger, Lutberger, Strack, Grundy, Nymanen, Brandenburger, I should say, and Coupens, Sinkinen, Tapio, Vinca, Van Ice, Kliknavi, Kahonen, Viperi and Marcus Carlson at the back of the grid. So just looking to see whether Lauren Hoffman is there or not. There does seem, I think there is a gap there, so I'd be very surprised because after his engine blew and it left a big line of oil going down into turn 1, it caused a delay. They managed to put down some cement. But yeah, Lauren Hoffman, unfortunately, not being able to compete this weekend here in Imatra. It really is a beautiful part of the world. So it's just gone 4 o'clock local time. Just keeping an eye on the weather as well. I think the temperature may have dropped slightly, perhaps. It's been in the high 20s for most of the day. Still showing in high 20s. So there'll be a formation lap very soon. Seems to be taking a very long time. There's a little bit of tidying up going on the side there. Some kind of spill. So maybe this is the reason why we're still holding them on the grid. So a little bit of cement dust. Something has gone down there. And that actually, after the exploits of the 250s and the 350s, that's actually champagne. So yesterday, because it was so hot, I think the champagne pretty much was evaporating as soon as it hit the ground after the celebrations. So I think that's, is it a 1 minute board that's gone up? I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to see if it's, yeah, the 1 minute board has gone up. So we're not too far. Tyre warmers are coming off. They'll be going out on their formation lap very, very soon. Pierre-Yves Bihan, this time, can he get the much better start and show how good he is on a Superbike? We know how good he is on a Supersport and a Super Twin machine, as he proved at the Isle of Man TT in the Northwest 200 in Northern Ireland earlier this year. Here in Imatra, he's been absolutely superb on the Superbike. So the grid is clearing. We're not too far away, folks. Thanks for your company here today. I hope we've enjoyed our live streaming coverage of the road racing from Imatra this weekend. A couple of technical issues. That seems to be the norm nowadays with live streaming, but we certainly enjoyed bringing you coverage from this fantastic racetrack. And it's been a special weekend as well. 60th anniversary of racing at the newly named Jarno Saarinen circuit. So we're almost ready to send the bikes off on their formation lap as soon as that red flag is folded. Green flag is waved at the back, or is held at the back anyway. There we go. Green flag is waved. Red flag is folded. They're on their way, folks. One last lap before they go racing. It is a cracking size field. So Vincent Lambois, bike 155. Just looking for 174 as well if he's in there. Just bringing up the rear is Mika Viperi, number 5. Yeah, not too sure. 38 maybe with a little bit of a problem there. I'm not too sure what was going on. That was the Frenchman, Eddie Ferrer. And a great true look here. Exactly how. Oh, and there's Dunlop. Oh, no, 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 no. A little shake of the head. So it's just been a problematic weekend. The fact that Pierre Bihan is putting his foot down, he really is getting a taste on this formation lap. And we thought that the Frenchman, 38, seemed to have some kind of an issue. He's managed to get going. The thing is as well, while they wait for him, it will delay things if he's going to make his way onto the grid. And still they keep coming. What a fantastic, impressive sight this is at Imatra. We want to see Dunlop coming around that corner though very soon as well. Whew. There we go, Michael Dunlop still going. So there he is, number 6, Michael Dunlop, the 21-time Isle of Man TT winner. Looking down, he does that quite a lot. But let's hope that things are fine. And despite the problems that he's had with the bike, he's really thoroughly enjoyed his time here at Imatra, and I think he wants to come back here to prove what he can do. The hands up is because we're coming past the paddock really, and a lot of the riders waving to family and friends that are gathered around there. What a great sized crowd we have here at Imatra today as they take their positions on the grid. Where is 38 Ferrer? Because we don't want to hold these machines for too long. And that's game over for Eddie Ferrer. It's a shame for the Frenchman, but it's good really for the rest of the field because he's just, while they waited for him, it would have held things up. And there is Dunlop taking up his position on row number 3. Fingers crossed, all you Dunlop fans, that at least he can complete 10 laps. And then if he can complete 10 laps, then he can get a position. He's off the bike, is he? No. He's still there, so here we go. Lights about to go off. We're about to go racing yet again. Can anyone do anything about Costamo this time around? Dunlop with a pretty good start by the looks of things. Here they come down to turn 1. Dunlop looking for the inside line. Oh, Costamo up the inside of Mora. Up the inside. So Costamo leads as they go into turn 1. Dunlop is in the mix. And also coming through, 55 Datsa. Oh, 64 runs wide and goes off, number 64. What a shame, but while that's happening, Costamo leads. Mora second, Datsa is in third. Dunlop is in the picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Valtonen in 8th, Grams in 9th. Bihan with a much better start as well. He's in 4th place. But here they come down to Kona Pico off the back of RVS Technology. It is Costamo who leads. Mora still in 2nd place. Datsa is 3rd. It's all very tight. And one of the greatest sounds you'll hear this weekend, if you're a racing fan, is certainly down anywhere around this circuit as the machines, the noise of the machines bounces off the trees. But as they go down through the dip at Imatra and Kona, just before the start finish at BMW Bavaria Laakkonen, as they come through there, it's proper hairs on the back of your neck stuff, standing up. So Dunlop is up to 6th now. He's gained a position. He's just behind Joey Den Besten. There he is. So Costamo from Mora, from Datsa, from Bihan, Den Besten, Dunlop, Lambois, Valtonen, Grams and Hoff. That's the top 10 on this opening lap. So just through here, that's why they're gathered there. Boy, oh boy, what a sound it is as they come through. Bit of action going on between Lombois, Valtonen and Grams further back as well, because Starmo with half a second lead over Mora. Datsa is in third, Bian in fourth place, Den Besten, Dunlop. So Erno Costamo, race winner earlier today in the open class. They ride the curb, some of them, some even ride the pavement. It's more of a traffic island, really. So they head their way down along RVS technology. Michael Dunlop doing his best to try and stay with the guys ahead of him. And Pierre-Yves Bihan really just losing a little bit of ground to Datsa and having to deal with Joey Den Besten. And these three, Costamo, a bite down, and they've got to get that move soon. And also hope that the fence hasn't been moved, because otherwise we may have a little bit of an issue here. So 76 is off. Meanwhile, Costamo, this is a change for second place. There's a battle going on between Mora and Datsa. They're side by side as they try to keep, they really are side by side, and Datsa goes through. Datsa's through to second. Datsa takes second from Mora. So David Datsa through into second place. Lucas Mora goes back to third. Didier Grams is kind of into sixth place. So Costamo goes across the line, and Mora looking to reclaim second place from Datsa if he can. He's got the inside line as they come down into turn one. So Mora certainly on the brakes and with plenty of speed. And Dunlop, that's it for Dunlop, I'm afraid. Michael Dunlop will have pulled out at the paddock. What a shame. He's just managed to get a couple of laps and not even 2 laps this time around. So a shame for Michael Dunlop. But I think he knows if he does come back to Imatra in the future, then it'll be on his own terms. This is the battle for fourth between Pierre-Yves Bihan and Joey Den Besten. And a little signal there from Pierre-Yves Bihan to let Den Besten go through. And Mora really on the wiggle as well, coming down into Kona Pico. That's still in third place now. Mora in second. The Datsa will have another pop again if he can. So Den Besten is in fourth, and I just wonder whether Pierre-Yves Bihan has got an issue, because there's all of a sudden he's losing a lot of time, and it looks like there's a problem for the Frenchman as well. So Pierre-Yves Bihan looks as if he's an early retirement. What a shame for the Frenchman. He'd had such a great weekend. This is the man who's having a fantastic weekend, though. The local Finn, Erno Costamo, ahead of Luca Mora. David Datsa unable to pass Mora this time, so he's still in third place. So Joey Den Besten in fourth. Didier Grams up to fifth. That can't be ignored. Valtonen in sixth. Lombois in seventh. So good effort from Michael Dunlop, but he's just had so many issues to contend with his machine this weekend. Just fingers crossed that he will come back to Imatra, maybe bring a few more of the British road racing guys with him as well. It really is a great track for the ride. Dunlop will tell you that. Gary Johnson will tell you that as well. Michael Rutter, who raced here in the past, he'll tell you that as well. And I don't know, maybe just a couple of flashes there. I don't know if that was a camera flash or whether that was a thunder flash I just saw in the distance. I hope it was a camera flash. There's Bihan. Game over for the Frenchman, just making his way back to pit lane. So I'm just hoping So just at the corner of my eye from the commentary position, I just saw a flash, but it could have been a photographer's flash. It's certainly warm enough for thunder and lightning. Let's hope that all the thunder and lightning is staying on the racetrack as Erno Kostomo, the race leader, goes through at Imatra, then into this turn onto Jousanen, Diesel Orsenius, I should say, and into SUF Helsinki, and then out of Mitra down into Imatranajo. So they begin lap 5 of 10. Kostomo from Mora, from Datsa, then Beston crossing the line now in 4th place still. Didier Grams coming up just behind him, so Didier Grams in 5th place. Ville Valtonen in 6th, Marcus Carlsen in 7th, Hoff 8th, Lombros 9th, Blomhard 10th. Lucas Mora still holding David Datsa at arm's length as they go along the back straight at RVS Technology. But this man here, Erno Kostomo, really looks the part out in front, really putting down fastest lap after fastest lap. His best is a 1:51.5. Still the battle rages on between Mora and Datsa for 2nd place. Then Beston back in 4th, just losing ground to this battle that we're looking at here between 2nd and 3rd. 0.3 of a second between them. And Datsa, having passed Mora once already, not quite able to get close enough to try and pass him again for a 2nd time. Going through here at Mitra, this is isn't public road. They brought it in just to slow them coming into that left-hand turn. So Kostomo begins lap 6. Mora takes a 1/10 of a second out of the race leader on that lap, but it's still Kostomo with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:51.3. They go over the famous railway line. So looking back, that's Den Beston. And then we'll see Didier Grams back on bike number 1 in 5th place. This is one of the closest battles that we have out there at the moment. It's a real sharp intake of breath moment when they exit that turn and just ride the curb. Well, I suggested earlier that we would be hearing the Finnish national anthem again. We would have heard it all day had Pauli Pekkanen not had that blow up in the Supersport race. Instead, we heard the Dutch national anthem, courtesy of Jord Hamburg. But at the moment, Kostomo looking the part. Just gets on the power, lifts that front wheel. A real road racing hero here in Finland. Been racing quite some number of years now. He's raced all around the world. Fantastic rider. And proving it here in front of his home fans. Erno Kostomo, bike 60. On the older style BMW as well, by the looks of things. But he crosses the line again. This time the gap is 2 seconds. Kostomo still has the fastest lap of the race, though. It was a 1:52.2 that time. Lucas Mora did a 1:51. David Datzer just seems content to sit there in third place, doesn't seem to be getting too flustered or upset. Just managing to keep him going. Mora managing to keep Costamo certainly in view, as Costamo again goes light on the back wheel as he hits the brakes for the chicane at Kona Pico. Then through Cuman, Trucchi Palavello. And then this right-hand turn at Ovarco. Then Imatra and Kulapula. Certainly plenty going on further back. Lambois on bike 155 with Blomhardt just behind him. Elsner also in the picture. Lack of adhesion flag out as well. I mentioned the threat of rain. It's still dry here. There's a little bit of cloud still around. I think we're going to get away with it though this time, as we go back to this battle for 9th place between Lambois, Blomhardt and Elsner. Meanwhile, 3 laps to go for Costamo. Certainly, in the earlier Superbike race in the open class, he was leading by around 8 seconds. It came down by the time the checkered flag came out. He had time to play with, of course. This time, though, a little bit tighter, still around the 2-second mark over Mora and Datzer. Then Beston losing touch back in 4th place, but he's still holding 4th ahead of Didier Grams, who's 5th. Valtonen is still 6th, ahead of Carlsen, Hoff, Lambois and Blomhardt. Elsner still trying to break into the top 10. But we're looking down on this battle for 2nd place. Mora still keeping Datzer behind him. Now, unless Datzer's got some kind of plan up his sleeve, you've got to think it's going to have to take something like a mistake by Mora to allow Datzer to go through into 2nd place. But as things stand, it's these 3 that are going to be standing on the podium. Costamo again looking at a race victory here at Imatra. We've had a couple of retirements, Michael Dunlop, of course, and Pierre-Yves Bihan. Here's that battle for 9th again. Still nothing between these 3. Back with the race leader. And that gap just extended slightly by about half a second or so over Lucas Mora. David Datzer still in a very tight 3rd place. 0.6 of a second, the last timing point for Erno Costamo. Crossing the line now, 2 more laps to go. Lucas Mora gets aboard. So you can see the railway line there. That's the one that normally goes into Russia. But obviously with what's been going on in Russia lately, no trains have been going on that track. But a great shot there. You can just see how technical it is through Ita Nordic and then into Technosave Ukenhata. Everyday traffic on the other side of that barrier. So Lucas Mora and David Datzer continuing this duel for 2nd place. However, Lucas Mora just seems to have opened up a slightly bigger gap than he's had throughout. Well, a suggestion perhaps that he might be closing in on the race leader. However, it could be the fact that Costamo might just be easing back. However, just watching his front wheel going up in the air, I don't think he's easing back. However, with just over a lap to go, we have got some slower riders, and when you have a big field such as this is the issues you can sometimes have. Now Costamo will hope that he will come across the slower traffic as they come along the BMW Bavaria Laakkonen straight. Mora still in 2nd, Datzer not quite able to close that gap yet. Still a second between them, and I think it will work for Costamo. However, 2nd place, and there is a blue flag went out there to warn the slower guys that there are faster men coming through, and there is the fast man coming through now, and he should catch them before they get to turn 1. So unfortunately another retirement there. That was Milka Velperi who went off. But Costamo will just have to tuck in behind 13. It's Marko Zinkanen. And Costamo on his final lap. Lucas Moura still in the picture, but it's going to take a mistake now from Costamo to throw this one away. Lucas Moura is quite close. Datsa, I think, has lost a bit of ground due to the slower guys. But Costamo on his way to the checkered flag. But we saw this with Pekkanen, of course. Just as we were thinking Pekkanen had the 600 race sewn up, he had an issue as he came over Imatra and Kulapula. So Erno Costamo. Lucas Moura in second. He's not giving up, is he, Moura? He's really closing down. But he's running out of road. He's running out of time. David Datsa saying third will do me. Then Beston is some way further back in fourth place. But Erno Costamo on his way to victory here at Imatra. It's the final lap of the final race of the weekend. We've waited 3 years for racing at Imatra. Oh, and Moore has closed right in. It would be some fairy tale if he was able to manage to pass Costamo now as they come up towards the checkered flag. Here comes Moura. There is traffic ahead, but they won't play it. Costamo will have this one. Moura's going to try and pull out of the slipstream if he can, but he's not close enough. It's the Finn who takes the win. And Costamo ahead of Lucas Moura. Datsa in third. Den Beston some way back in fourth, but Costamo makes it a double today in the Superbikes. He won the Open class earlier on. He takes victory in the International Road Racing Championship. Lucas Moura offers his congratulations. The appreciative Finnish crowd salute their heroes. Absolutely stunning. So Den Beston's gone through, so has Carlson, Valtonen, Lambois, Hoff, Blomhard, Elsner. But there is our race winner, Erno Costamo. So 10 laps completed. We did it as well before any race, before any rain, and also as well lap record. The Jarno Saarinen SUF Helsinki Peroni watch will go to Erno Costamo for the lap record. So congratulations to Erno. And all of a sudden, it feels like whatever the Finns have done to ensure that the racing went ahead, they did so in glorious sunshine, because it does look as now it's just dark, not darkened, but certainly it looks a little bit bleaker than it has done all weekend. It's been glorious sunshine, temperatures in the 30s as well. So congratulations to Erno Costamo, another win, plus the lap record. The fastest lap of the whole weekend. David Datsa, he's had a good weekend as well. Managed to get into second place early on, but eventually had to settle for third behind Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura managed to get the fastest lap of that race, 1:50.979. He was certainly motoring on that final lap. And there he is, number 18. So that concludes racing here at Imatra. We've still got a garlanding ceremony and a podium presentation, of course. It's been a big crowd. It's been a big grid, certainly for the Superbikes. We've had some great racing in all classes this weekend, not just the Superbikes, but also Supersport, the Sidecars, plus the 250s and the 350s in the ICGP. But there's confirmation of the results. Erno Costamo in first place, Lucas Mora second, David Datzer in third. They will stand on the podium. Joey Den Besten, Marcus Carlson, Ville Valtonen, Vincent Lombois, Patrick Hoff, Virgil Amber Blomhart, Marcel Elsner, Almeric Blanc, Luca Codati, Marco Rata, Nuyiko Muller and Heikki Manila. Lasse Karki, Didier Grams down in 17th. I wonder what happened to him. He was going so well. He was up into 5th place at one point for a very long time. So he dropped down. Maybe he overshot somewhere. Jan Koppinen, Pontus Röslinger, Andreas Jochum, Ilari Naimanen, René Grundai. Then Lutberger, Vinka, Tapio Strak, Kwepens, Kriknavi, Van Ice, Sinkinen, and still they come. Viperi. Unfortunately, we saw him retire, bike number 5, and he joins the likes of Pierre Yves and Michael Dunlop as non-finishers. So we'll get some interviews with the race winners coming up very, very soon. David Datzer takes a very strong third place, back on the podium again. So some very happy faces, as you'd expect. And the odd burnout as well. Fans love that. So our race winner is in.
Congratulations to the third place.
So here we have David Datzer.
Yeah, it was a nice race. And yeah, I'm very happy with the result. Another points, and yeah, perfect.
And so the weekend was almost perfect.
Yeah, almost perfect. All is perfect.
Welcome next year and make it better.
Yeah, we look.
Annetaan herralle aplodit. Sitten kakkosena Lukas Maurer. Missäs meillä on Lukas? Hello Lukas, happy man.
It was a fun race. Pretty hard fight with David, but when you know David, you know that he always left enough space to survive. So that was a pretty hard fight, but it was fun, yeah.
It was so fun that you were really close when we came to the checkered flag.
Yeah, on the last lap, Erno took it a little bit slow and saw an opportunity, so I went all in. But his bike was too fast on the straight, so he barely made it.
It was very close, and I can give you congratulations. The fastest circuit time, 1:50.97.
It's lap record.
I think so.
That's nice.
That's very nice because the track has changed from last season, and now that's history. Now we have new history, and you made history. 1:50.97. Congratulations and thank you. Annetaan aplodit Lukas Maurerille. Sitten Erno Kostamo. Erno, onneksi olkoon. Otetaan nyt tällä kertaa ihan kädestä pitäen onneksi olkoon. Se oli miehen työ. Mitä voin sanoa, että tiukoille meni. Toi loppu, herra tuli perässä 0.13 sun jälkeen maaliin.
No joo, pikkusen liikaa tuli varmisteltua. Tuolla rupesi sataa tuolla loppulenkillä, niin pikkasen varmistelin, että nyt ei mokata tätä, mutta ei varmaan jäänyt se epäselväksi, kuka oli tämän viikonlopun nopea.
No se ei kyllä jäänyt epäselväksi, se oli niinku selvä, eli täydet pisteet, eli voidaan sanoa täydellinen viikonloppu, se on ollut niinku ykkönen aikaa ja kilpailu mukaan lukien, eli tästä on hyvä jatkaa. Minkälainen on Ernon jatkosuunnitelma?
Jatkosuunnitelma on se, että pidetään jalat maassa ja mennään 3 viikon päästä Belgiaan ja katsotaan, nollataan tää, että Belgiassa on ihan uusi viikonloppu ja kyllä tää jotain kertoo vauhdista, mutta mennään Malttamojen mieli Belgiaan.
Belgiaan mennään. Onnea Erno ja annetaan Ernolle ja kumppaneille ansaitut aplodit ja siirrytään sitten myöskin kohden palkintojakoon korkeimmalle korokkeelle. Sinne astelee first winner Erno Kostamo.
So the garlanding ceremony gets underway And incredibly, folks, it's now starting just to start raining here at Imatra. So 5 minutes after the last bike crossed the line, a little bit of rain, the first we've seen all weekend. So Kostomo, Maura and Datsa on the podium this time. So Lucas Moura, 1:50.979. So the information I was fed earlier was that Kostomo had the lap record. It could well be Lucas Moura. We're waiting for confirmation of that. But here's the national anthem of Finland yet again. So congratulations to Erno Kostomo. Congratulations as well to the organisers for getting all the racing in before the rain started to come down. It's not really coming down, it's just spitting. There's a few drops on our window here in the commentary position at the side of the track. We've still got some highlights to bring you as well, folks, as the final champagne of the weekend is sprayed. Why is it always the race winner is the last one to get the cork unpopped? So smiles all round on the podium. Let's remind ourselves of some of the best bits of that race. The final bit of action here at Imatra this weekend. And it was a cracking start off the front line, the front row from Lucas Moura. Bian also looking strong, but Kostomo managing to get out in front. Moura in second place, Datsa was third. Michael Dunlop was also running in the top six early on. However, he would only manage to find a couple of laps on that bike. Datsa went through into second place, past Moura early on. And having passed Moura, you thought perhaps maybe he would go on to challenge the race leader. However, Moura had second thoughts and managed to retake second place from Datsa. And from there, really, it was these three all the way towards the checkered flag. And it seemed that Kostomo was just managing at the front, always around 2 seconds, the advantage over Lucas Moura. However, as the laps ticked down, as we went towards the final lap, Kostomo, having won the earlier Superbike race, looked as if he would be on for a repeat again. Datsa seemed to have settled for third place, but Moura really closed in on that last lap, so much so he would go on to post the fastest lap of the race, 1:50.979. So Lucas Moura, as they came towards the final few turns, closed right in, but really just wasn't quite close enough to fashion a move. And it was Erno Kostomo who takes the checkered flag. So that's the final piece of action here at Imatra. We've had 250s, 350s, sidecars, Supersports and Superbikes. We've had riders from all over Europe. We've had the best of weather. We've had soaring temperatures. We've had fantastic racing all the way through the weekend. We've had great hospitality, a wonderful circuit. We've had Giacomo Agostini, Tepi Lanciavori as well, and also the naming of the Jarno Saarinen circuit here at Imatra as it celebrated 60 years of racing. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring it to you here on our live stream. We can only now look forward ahead to next year and 2023 in Imatra. Until then, I've been Dave Moore. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage, and on behalf of everyone involved, we thank you very much for your company, and we hope to see you again soon. But until then, it's goodbye for now.